And welcome everybody to another edition of Web of Wyrd. My name is Davyd Farrell. I'm your co-host for today, and as always, I'm joined by my brother, herbalist, rock star, the one and only Mr. Jackson Main. How are you, brother?
Hey, I'm okay. I'm here. I
Yes,
could just
that's
leave it
always
there.
benefit.
It's been a strange time. I'm kind of in the middle of things at the moment. Finishing a very busy period. Looking forward to a month actually of relative downtime. The last 2 weeks will be anyway. And in the interim, having to, I've probably said this before. You're probably getting totally bored with hearing me say it, but I've got to finish a book by the end of December. Sorry, December.
You're
God, I
just too
wish.
prolific for your own good, bro.
August.
That's all I
I
can say.
know. I don't know how people say, I don't know how you do it. And I'm like, "No, I don't really know how to do it either, but I have to. I'm driven to do it. But
Mhm.
actually, I enjoy the process of writing. What I don't enjoy is being interrupted. And that's going to happen less over the next 2 weeks. So I have hopes that I'm going to be able to finish it.
Well, looking forward to that. I think that must be another book on iridology
No,
or
it's not. No, I've done
not.
two on
No, okay.
iridology, and there might be another one coming up. But this one is it's actually about, well, it's kind of about how to live defensively in the middle of a toxic soup.
Sounds a bit like Web of Wyrd,
It
to be
does a
honest.
bit, doesn't it? I think it has a lot in common. Yeah.
Well, look, as always, everybody, we're doing safety first here. So we're just going to spend 5 to 10 minutes setting out the scene of what we want to talk about on today's show. We do have one topic which we have to be careful around, of course, which is censorship. But we're going to get into that in more detail on Rumble. Myself and Pete have talked about this beforehand, and we think we're okay with what we're going to share. But we also do want to talk about this because it's something that is going on very strongly in Britain right now. So we'll be doing 5 to 10 minutes here on YouTube as the introduction, and then we're going to jump over to Rumble. So please do follow us over there. Thank you, everybody who does do that. We really do see it in the viewing figures, but also just to remind everybody, if you like what we do on our YouTube and Rumble channels, please do hit subscribe and like, because we're on an algorithm offensive right now. We are playing the game with YouTube because we want to reach as many people as possible, because this is a time when ideas and collaborations need to be really illuminated. We are in a very strong period, astrologically, cosmologically, and energetically speaking, which we'll talk about more in the main bulk too. But just to give you a heads up of what we're going to be looking at today, we are going to look at the censorship issue, particularly in the UK. We're also going to be looking at if and how that might be relating to the next pandemic, we can say, that is being rolled out by the World Health Organization right now. We will be having a look at the role of AI, good or bad, indifferent. We're going to try and take a neutral view on this, but it is coming towards us because we're going to be entering the Aquarian age when Pluto re-enters Aquarius later this year. So I think this is something that we all need to be thinking about and deciding how we want to incorporate. We will have a look at the bonkers full moon energy of tomorrow, which is kind of the precursor to all of this. And we're going to be also looking at losing your shit when stuff gets a bit too much for you and you just have a meltdown, and then what you do to walk it back afterwards, because probably you might think that you didn't want to have that situation. That's also going to lead us into looking at polarization and division, which I think is a very big piece right now. And of course, that also takes us into the world of some of the bigger narratives that are going on, which include war scenarios, which is not one of our favorite topic. I think everyone's a bit sick of it, but heck, I think it's an important part of the process. And we'll also be having a look at some more humorous items that have come up from the Olympic Games and from the world of the arts, and what we think about all of that. And as always, a disclaimer: myself and Pete always try to come at all of this from a neutral perspective, with our tongues a little bit in our cheek, trying to laugh at some of the lunacy of what's being offered to us at these times, right? And of course, that does include monkey bollocks. Sorry, monkeypox. So we'll have a look to see whether it's a pox or a bollocks in the Rumble channel. But bro, anything you wish to add to that before we jump over to Rumble in a minute? And I know you've been on a one-man mission to get us banned on these introductions in the last couple of editions. So I'm asking you
I,
tentatively.
I've not been doing a good enough job, bro, because we're still up.
I know we didn't
Not
get
that
banned.
I wouldn't wish it. I wouldn't wish it on us. I value the channel. We need to keep it. We need to be here. And all I can say is, if you really want, if this is titillating your fancy and you're thinking, what on earth do they get up to? Then please do join us on Rumble, because that's where the real shit happens.
Right. You know, we try to have fun with all of this. We're very serious people. We do subscribe to the newer philosophy of a better world, a more just world, a more fair world. And our questions are always, well, how do we get from where we are today with all of this hoo-ha that is going on to a place where we're all on the same page, perhaps even as a unified society, which is very much part of my vision for the future. And what are the triggers and catalysts that we're being offered if we take a more higher eagle's perch perspective at this time, and rather than allowing ourselves to fall into good, bad, light, dark, left and right, how do we rise above all of that, right, bro, and look at these things and say, well, maybe the good things are really there, and the not so good things and the bad things are actually the really good things. And if that's the case, then how do we work with all of that? And that doesn't mean that we don't get on a little bit of a soapbox occasionally and have a little bit of a pop and a rant at things. We try to be well behaved. We have also been banned quite a few times on YouTube, but not recently. And I think that's very interesting, Pete, because we have covered quite a lot of juicy topics over the course of the last 12 months that other people seemingly have got banned for, but we haven't. So hopefully our way of doing things is coming at it from that perspective of neutrality.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I think sometimes there's a degree of randomness.
Yeah.
Does the algorithm pick up on your misspeak or not? Do you use precisely the right or the wrong terms? What what is it they're looking for? Do they change the algorithms? Is it perfectly possible? Maybe they're looking for some things some days and other things other days. I don't know. All I know is that a couple of random things that have happened to me, really, especially regarding the old Facebook side of things, which is that, I got taken off Facebook several times for saying things I shouldn't say, going off narrative, off agenda. And recently they've been coming back at me saying, would you like to reshare this post you put up about the offered medication? Yeah, I don't mind if I do, but you took me off the channel for that. And another one was being invited to join a group of people who didn't entirely agree with the offered medication. So I was, it was just really, really strange that on 3 years ago I was being deplatformed, taken down, twice a month at least, and now they're actually almost like, got to do something. Come on, you got to keep your feet going. How about joining this group? This is people like you. You don't agree with this, that, and the other. So why don't you have a go? Maybe it's a trap. Maybe I should rejoin, and then they could take me down again. I don't know.
Well, look, you know what? We can do this kind of head tennis backwards and
Yeah.
forwards, and I've been doing it a bit recently, and it is one of the major topics of today, which is confusing media. If I look
Yeah.
this way, do I believe what I'm hearing? If I look that way, do I? So what can I believe? I think that's a big question for us all right now. So with that in mind, we're going to jump off here and we're going to get into the juice of all of this on our Ramble channel. The link is in the show notes. Like I say again, ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to get to New Earth, and we want to share the ideas or ways of looking at things with as many people as possible. We love you guys out there. We always get incredible feedback from our dedicated Web of Wyrd audience. I know that Pete has now met many of you in person, which I think is
I
pretty cool.
have, and it's a real pleasure. And I'm working with some of you, as you know, you will recognize yourself.
Right, turns out our audience are real people and not just bots, which I think is pretty cool, because
That's
I'm
very
not so
important.
sure about
Yeah.
all of the internet these days. But thank you, everybody. We do really appreciate the support. We love all the feedback. Please do put your comments. Whether you disagree or agree, we're just trying to have an honest debate and dialogue, which is also one of the topics for today, and welcome people's opinions. We don't welcome trolling, of course, but balanced opinions that try to add to the debate are always welcome, I think. And I really do have that as a prayer for the world, that we can come into a place where whatever division and polarity we can have a conversation about it, which is something that we're going to talk about in a minute. So without further ado, we'll hit the stop button here on YouTube and jump over to Rumble and see you all there in a minute, hopefully. Bye.